Hey everybody, it's Kyle. Hey, I just got in a conversation with a lady who thinks that venting is good for her. And she said for her it's good because it restores her equilibrium, and it allows her to get her emotions out and not bottle them up. She just says she has to be careful to whom she vents to, and I get that. But I want to tell you real quickly about me personally. I wrote an article about this on 1in110.com, and I talked about how somebody asked me at one point, is it ever hard for you? And it made me laugh because I have two sons on the spectrum, so what do you think, right? But so I thought what I would do is I would write in a blog post the things that I worry about or the ways that it's hard for me. And what happened to me is, as I started to write and I kind of outlined the things that are hard or that worry me, what I found is that my body language changed, and I kind of got sadder, and I noticed myself slumping as I typed. And I just started to feel bad as I focused on those things that were hard or bad or difficult for me, or my fears or concerns for my sons, for their future. So I would stop writing and go do something else for a little while, and I would restore my normal happy equilibrium, happy self. And I went back to this and started writing again a little later, and the same thing happened. And what I started to realize very quickly is that focusing on those bad events or those difficult events, or sometimes those the fears I have, really wasn't productive for me. Now, when I tell you stories about events that have happened in the past, whether they were good or bad, I'm always smiling, because what I found is that once they're past and behind you, it's easy to talk about them in a way that's happier, because it's a story that you can tell that may be a really tricky, tough time, but once it's past, it's easier to manage the story that you're telling. So that's one thing I wanted to share with you. And the other is this: a few years ago, quite a few years ago, my wife decided to buy me a punching bag, because I grew up in a kind of a violent situation sometimes, and I boxed for a while, and she decided that it was better for me to get my frustrations out on a punching bag than it was any other way, because she thought me bottling those feelings up was bad. Well, what ended up happening to me is I would get that punching bag and I would start thinking about the things that I was frustrated about, and beating that punching bag and getting all those frustrations out. But when I was done, there was two things that happened to me. One is I was exhausted because I'd beat on this punching bag. And the second thing was I was even more frustrated because I was focused on those frustrations and I was building them out in my mind. Now, this is just me. I know that's not the same way everyone is. This conversation I had this morning was insightful for me because she needs that. But I caution you that when you're venting, that you don't let it become who you are, because complaining can become a habit. I'd rather focus on the beautiful things about my kids on the spectrum, or the way we manage the difficult situation, than to focus on the difficult situation. Just last night, both of my sons were waking each other up all night long. They're not 18 today and 15, and I got zero sleep. Now, I'm saying that to you with a smile on my face, but I would imagine you've experienced that before. What I don't want to do is come to work and sit here and be thinking, oh, I'm so tired. What I want to do is focus on the fact that I managed that as well as I could. Sometimes bad things happen to us. We need to manage that the best we can. And I'm focused on how well I managed that as a father last night, and how when they need me, when they're at their worst and tiredest and most frustrated, I can be at my best. So that's what I'm going to focus on. I'm going to focus on those good things, because I know if I sit here and think, oh, I'm so tired, they kept me up all night long, oh, I don't think I can get through the day, that can be venting that doesn't really help me be productive. So here's what I do know. Tonight, I'm going to sleep really well, because I'm already tired, and it's only 11:30 in the morning. So by 10 o'clock tonight, I'll be zonked. If they wake up all night long again, I'll manage it properly. Tomorrow I'll have another story about how I managed it properly, and I'll be feeling good. So there's my vent. That's how I vent. I tell those stories in a way that uplift me and help me get going. So hopefully that's helpful. If you need to vent, make sure you're not focused on the pain and your own pain and suffering, because it can drag you down. Make sure you're focused on how you managed it in a way that was best for you and your child. Hopefully that's helpful. Have a great day. I'll talk to you tomorrow. Bye-bye.